So I just want to make this video to illustrate a couple important points that you need to keep in mind when you're playing the Winston man like Lucio comps against Brawl comps. And those could be, Rein comps, but also Arista comps, to an extent Doomfist comps, anything with just a bunch of sustain and like little range. So first example, just gonna watch the Shanghai versus New York from 2020. A lot of these examples are gonna be Overwatch 1 just because those are the only ones I could find, but the principles they really remain the same. Like the two things really need to the two things really need to exploit are, first of all, the explosive engages, but also the mobility. Mobility is a big thing. Like even against these comps, you can use mobility to really get an advantage in fights that you might not see at first, but after looking at these examples, I hope you do see how much of an asset mobility can be against brawl comps. And it's not only like in terms of your rotations and how you approach engages, but you also need to be using mobility during the actual fights. Even in the fight, like if someone's pressuring you, like everyone on this team except Zarya, but that's Overwatch 2. You don't like it's 5v5, obviously, but like like each and every one of these heroes, if they're in trouble, they can just fuck off. And it's all about dodging, avoiding damage, as well as like using your ability to disengage if you feel that you're about to lose the fight. And disengaging is an extremely important part of this comp, not only against this, but also like in other matchups as well. So right here, um, both teams are going to like they've literally come out of spawn, and they're gonna meet in the middle. The thing is, New York could just bunker in this room, make it really annoying for Shanghai to engage onto them. Really use the full powers of dismay, but they say, nah, we're not gonna use that. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna make it as hard for us as possible. And as you can see right here, this opens up a couple of opportunities. Like Jonak's already half HP, you sleep. Sabiobi's separated. Like Hacksaul's taking a really aggressive angle. It's gonna be really easy to force out Ice Block. And as you can see, like given all these advantages, Shanghai are just like, fuck it, let's punish you. And for like making those mistakes. And nobody dies here, so you might think, this amounts nothing, but they've already used 2 cooldowns. They have to use boosters, they have to use roll, and this is actually bigger than you'd think because like without this roll, Sabiobi was gonna be like deathly afraid to separate from their backline. So like essentially now he's out of the fight. And what did it cost Shanghai? You might think, oh, they had to jump there to use bubble, but let's face it, they're about to they want to engage anyways. So like essentially what they're doing here is that by doing the thing that they were about to do anyways, they force out 2 cooldowns for free. And this makes it easier for Shanghai to like win this fight. And as you can see right here, pay attention to Sabiobi. He gets low, he gets low. Oh, there's the roll. He can't use the roll. He wants to peel off Fleta. Like Fleta's like putting meat shots into his Rein. Guess what happens? He has to like go in and do the damage. But if he walks up like this, bam, he's dead. No roll. Cooldown def. And with this, it's easy to clean up the fight. But you also need to realize as well that Shanghai are not just putting 100% aggression. They're like even right now, Lip's playing at mid range almost is like Yaki's like playing to live, like he's not deep in the backline. Void's playing at mid range, even though like Overwatch 2, no off tank. Fearless jumps up here so he doesn't have to like go into the middle of the enemy team and die. And so like like Shanghai are playing at a good range where if they need to escape, they still can. And even like during this, you can see Fearless gets swung at. Fearless doesn't fight this. Fearless doesn't shoot mono. You don't win this 1v1. Instead, Fearless just jumps in somewhere where he can kite back if needed. But even though Shanghai, they're a bit too committed to like be able to kite back probably, but still, Fearless is also going at an angle where like he isn't shooting Rein, like he's using his mobility not only to escape the Rein but also threaten the backline. So like even then, like prioritizing backline, avoiding Rein, avoiding the tank. Don't shoot the tank unless they're so far overextended you can just burst them down without getting punished. I mean, they are shooting the Rein, but only to keep him in check, like lips threatening hacks and shit. And after this, after getting the pick, that's when they can actually go aggressive. But like, biggest thing here as well. I mean, like Shanghai, when they go in, they don't just fully commit at the start. They wait until they have an opening. They go a bit aggressive, but they wait until they have a clear opening before they just press W, face tank, Rein, do all this shit. But like, it's never 100% aggression at the start. Even when you're engaging, you still have control over how much risk you take. And like, mastering this micro is really important. Like, getting proper spacing, using cooldowns to escape and also threaten the backline, recognizing what cooldowns are used and how you can put pressure on the players who use cooldowns. Like if you look at this fight, look at what Sabioli was killed by. Moira Orb. So everyone was on that page, even like Moira. Okay, let's take a look at over the next fight. Shanghai actually kind of fuck up here. They used too many ults one fight. They let New York take too much space. But the fight after this was really beautifully executed. So right here, like they are close to EMP, so they could just play for EMP, but like look at this golden opportunity. Backline and frontline, they're just way too separated. And this might be okay just because you do have escape, you do have like Lucio able to like potentially speed Sabioli out. But like, look at what you're going up against. Lucio, Winston, all mobile heroes. Like this, what becomes a bit of a risk against any other comp becomes deadly against this comp. And that's what I mean. Like that's one of the things I mean when I say like use your mobility. What do Shanghai have to do here? Like the only thing that Shanghai has to do here is like speed in, walk up this way, get kills. And by the time they are able to like get back into the fight, bam, backline's already bursted. Like Jonax even here. And see, they just rotate, they even use the beat. Not entirely sure if the beat was necessary, but like if anything, they should have beated if like New York able to chunk them down a bit, but overall theme is good. They recognize all the split targets here. They rotate, they get kills by the time Rein and D.Va are able to get back. Whoop, fight's over. So like even if New York were playing like closer to get together, it is still good to look for opportunities to approach from angles where you can hit the backline. So like let's say for example Let's say for example, New York had their backline over here, and like instead of like playing all the way over here, like the from Rein were playing over here. Well, you don't really want to go in like through the tanks. You want to have at least some angles onto the backline, and like it's not a good idea in this scenario. The reason they're only like doing it here and risking getting walled off by May is because like this was such a big opportunity. And like even if they get walled off by May, like even if like let's say a couple players do, like one or two, well like these four should still be able to like easily clean up these three. Like they're just all stuck in this tiny ass room with where like sure they can kite, but Lip's already in the back line. But like even if like it isn't a good idea to like push into this room. Let's say the back line's over here, front line's playing kind of outside, holding this choke. You still want to have some angles onto the back line. Like Lip's creating an angle here, but Reaper could potentially look for a TP, try to like get into the back line. Winston could jump in really deep, get into the back line, avoid the Rein. You just need to avoid face tanking them. Like avoid face tanking the enemy as much as possible. And go for angles, use your mobility to access the enemy backline. And you might think, oh, Rein just steps a couple steps to the like back or a couple steps to the right, and they'll be able to just swing at like all five of you. But here's the thing, like this comp is so fast at doing what it wants to do that by the time that like maybe the Rein is able to like get back and like swing at you, you've already probably killed one or two. So like it's still worth going for these angles, even if everyone is closer together than New York is right now. So let's look at the next match, and this is gonna be something a bit more recent.
Respect the fact that
this is a way more annoying matchup to go against. They actually have BAP now.
Here.
And eventually you're gonna play fucking Torb. Shock Classic. But okay, ignore this really crappy bubble. It's bad. They disengage kind of because they just don't want to be standing here without bubble. But they wait for the bubble to come back. But let's all disengage. So the first engage, not really good. But like this is probably the best engage they can get away with right now. Like you could try to like set up some sneaky, clever ass flank, but like you don't need to. Like another perfectly valid way of taking fights is using soft engages where you plan to disengage if you don't really get anything done to poke out the enemy and force out cooldowns. Again, this ties back to what I said before. You don't need to be fully aggressive in fights. If you go in, you can be 50% not committing all that much, and then only pushing it to 100% once you have that big advantage. Otherwise, just disengage. You just try like go in once you have your cooldowns back. So right here they go for kind of soft engage. They don't really get anything done. It's unlikely they can get anything done because Shock have really good positioning. Like they're positioned on high ground with where like the backline can just stay in this room and bunker here, and they have Maywall of Glad's over Chase. But like all they really need to do, force out cooldowns. So they get the boop, forcing out May cooldowns. But like overall, once they went for their cycle, players start getting a bit low, they just disengage. They don't have to fight this. And once they get their cooldowns back, they go for their FD God. Eventually, just gets caught out of position. Bam, they exploit that. But once they have their second set of cooldowns, that's when they go in and they look to finish this fight. And in fact, they're not over pushing this. They get the BAP lamp out. Welp, we don't want to fight that necessarily. We just like drop and wait for our third bubble, or at least wait for the lamp to break. Like obviously they'll be shooting the lamp, of course, but they get super off of this. In fact, Mirror kind of overextends here a bit. Like all you really need to do is like back up, help like enforce point. He tries to dual Diva. Not a good decision, buddy, but still, overall, Glads went there for their first engage. First engage didn't really do much, but it did force out cooldowns. They waited out their cooldowns. They went for the second engage. They get FD God out of position. And then BAP drops lamp. We're like, well, our bubble is broken. Everyone's kiting back. We're just going to like put pressure on point. And then afterwards, they went for their third engage. And they won the fight off of that. So, main takeaway here is, again, you don't need to be 100% aggressive. You can just engage to force out cooldowns. Your cooldowns come really fast in Winston comps. You see, the user bubble, all I have to do is like wait a couple seconds. And then they just re-engage. And you see they force out lamp. Mirror's the one who's kind of overextending here. Like the rest of Glads are like, well, you just want to kite back like this? Well, we're just going to take point. And afterwards, they went for another engage. And bam. So, second key takeaway. Well, it's not a second key takeaway. I've already mentioned this. Like, be really careful with your aggression against this comp. Now, like, let's look at subsequent fights. And as you can see, good example. Shocker kind of hesitant on whether they want to recontest or not. They use Maywall, which is huge. They kill Super. Maywall, like, kind of unintentionally fucked him. Okay, let me see this wall again. Oh, shit. And, like, afterwards, just good cleanup. But, like, let's look at this next fight. As you can see right here, Glads have a lot of ults. And, like, when you have a lot of ults like this, the answer is not just sitting back and letting the enemy take all the space they want. Like, Brawl is weakest when it's actually rotating. It's not like, they can really take space, establish sight lines, like, before, like, pushing in aggressively. Like, Brawl needs to be pushing in aggressively, or else it's just kind of like a useless, like, sitting duck. Like, if you're playing against like a ball comp, like, they could possibly clear out your Winston, try to sit back, poke with Zen a bit, but this comp has no option to do that. It either needs to like get up in your face, get up onto the cart, or else like it has to. Like otherwise it's just kind of useless. It does barely any poke. It needs to like actively look for fights. So like you want to be catching the comp off guard before it can get into a position where it can hold a corner, hold a choke, stall out point. And this fight, Glads do exactly that. The EMP as Shocker rotating. like always like look for these forward setups. It's even easier with Kiriko. Like you just have Kiriko set on cart, TP to fight if needed. And this fight's a bit messy. They trade big kills. Good Diva Bomb. Okay, Glance might have overused an ult, but like still, they get the team fight win. And let's take a look at the next fight as well. Next fight's a bit messier because they don't really have a lot of ults to play with, but as you can see, they go for like another like aggressive play. They get Violet off of that. Okay, this replay is in a very inconvenient time. But as you can kind of see here, they go for an aggressive play with the Meteor Strike. Before Shock are able to like just stall out cart. And okay, Mirror kind of goes in for a forehead play here, but like let's take a look at this fight as well. How Glads are playing the micro out. So they get the kill, Mirror overextends, but after this, the rest of Glads, they play this fight pretty well. They're not over engaging this, they're still maintaining a distance. They still need to wait for like to heal up these two, and I think to wait for Bubble as well. Like you don't need to go 100% aggressive. 50% aggressive is fine until you have your cooldowns back or you have a big advantage. And what's that big advantage right now? Oh, they land an aid. So now they can go 100% aggressive. And okay, they trade a couple of players here. It might be a bit difficult without ults, but eventually they do build their ults. If they need to use EMP, then they can. Okay, this was a pretty shitty EMP, but like eventually, they get their ults, and they just finish out this fight. But most importantly, the reason they can get their ults is because they're not just playing 100% aggressive all the time. Like even when both they're fighting, they're waiting for key moments to engage. Like they waited for FD God to get naded, like for Shu to land a nade. They waited for their cooldowns, which dictates how aggressive they can be. And this might be basic, but like not enough teams do it in practice. Like cooldowns decide how aggressive you can be. Is like cooldowns. Always keep track of the cooldowns that you have, not only the enemy. Like the cooldowns that you have. If you don't have Winston Bubble or Wraith or Fade or like Suzu or whatever, your ability to go in aggressive is way less until you get those cooldowns back. It's really important to call out your cooldowns as well. Like if you want to go in, but like let's say you're like Lucio says to go in, but you're playing Winston, you don't have Bubble. Well, like don't get pressured to go in. Like tell him, like I need to wait 5 seconds for my bubble, like 5 seconds of bubble, and like don't be afraid to keep track of your cooldowns. Call out when you're gonna get those cooldowns back, and make it clear that you're only gonna engage when you have those cooldowns that allow you to fight. Like in a matchup that's based on outfighting the enemy like this, instead of like just bursting down a single Zen, it's so important to have good micro. It's so important to have good tracking of your own cooldowns, your own ability to fight. So we're gonna look at like one more example. So okay, let's skip this. This was kind of a bad fight from Fuel, but we're gonna take a look at this fight. So right here, New York, they do a really horrible rally. Like this rally is dog shit. Like the like Fearless kind of goes in here. He didn't have to go in. Like all he really has to do is like hold space, wait for the rally to dissipate. Like I still think it was a right decision to go in, even though there was a bit of risk with this. Just because you can kind of poke out the rally armor, force out a bunch of cooldowns, make it so New York can't just like throw those abilities into your backline. But still, this isn't the main part of this fight. Like, as you can see, New York, they're using auto cooldowns and shit. They're running it. They're trying to like run it, fuel a bit. You don't have to fight this. You don't want to fight them when they're rallying like this. You don't want to be fighting them when they're like this strong. All you need to do, wait it out, wait for your ults to come online, and then push in once like New York are just kind of like just shitting out abilities at you. And as you can see, rally is ending. They have Cole now. They just punish. So like, here's another key takeaway. If the enemy's using ults like Rally, Beat, a Window, even like High Noon, whatever, if you don't need to fight, you can just disengage. It's not only ultimates. Like if the enemy's using Lamp and shit, you don't need to like 100% commit to the fight if you feel that the Lamp's gonna make it so you can't secure a kill or whatever. You just disengage for a bit, wait that out. Maybe wait for like your Sojourn to destroy the lamp, and then you go in. Again, like your cooldowns recharge at a fucking unbelievably fast rate. Like you can cycle your cooldowns way faster than the Brawl team. As you can see, like easy punish. But let's look at like a couple more examples. So, in this example, they have a ton of ults. Again, like this, they want to take White Room. Like White Room is where they're actually like stable. Anywhere outside this, they're just like sitting ducks who are waiting to die. As you can see. You know, again, like, look what happens. Kellen's just spamming his cooldowns. Just wasting his cooldowns on doing like, punching like the wall. Like slamming, like down slamming the wall, like the floor. And guess what? This is the easiest decision in the world to make. Just go in. Like, if you have ults, or the enemy makes a colossal mistake like this, you just need to recognize this and go in. Like, don't be afraid. And like the next fight is an example of the enemy making like fucking up. Again, like Fearless does a really good job of like literally baiting Kellen to go in. Like use punch. Oh, punch is used. No, you can't peel me off anymore. I just like swing your backline for free. And like look at the distance as well. Like the fuck is this rotation? So like you see these mistakes as they're rotating, even if you don't have ults. You don't even bother playing for Cole, you just exploit that. Like they can use Cole if they really need to, but and probably didn't need to, but still. Like rotations. Exploit the fuck out of them. Let's do one more fight. So right here, Fio are not even close to any ults. They might not want to engage that aggressively this fight. But like, again, you see? You see this like forehead punch again? He doubles down, uses more cooldowns. Eventually I've used Meteor Strike just to peel back. And like now, the thing is like, I was thinking that New York should, I mean, Fuel should be disengaging, kind of. But like, they do get Brig low, like, at this instant, and they can just burst down Brig here. But normally, if, let's say, New York were in a slightly better position, they use Rally, you still have point control. All you really have to do is, like, disengage, and re-engage once the rally's over. Like, you don't have to fight them when they have an advantage, but in this case, they're able to, like, target and burst down Gangnam Jin so damn easily that they can just go in. But, like, it was a kind of close one, I'm gonna admit. But it's very important to abuse disengages in general. Like, don't let this example, like, the only reason they went here is went in here is because they can actually burst down Gangnam Jin. But if Brig was able to live, right decision here would just be similar to like the fight earlier. You just disengage. Okay, sorry for the lag, but like the right decision, like around here. There we go. Oh, holy shit, the streaming site is so laggy. Like, the streaming site. So, like, they use Rally here. Fearless is like, well, we're not gonna fight this. We're just gonna wait your stupid ass rally out. And then, once your rally's almost expired, I'm just gonna engage with Cole. Nice and simple. So, I just want to, like, give a couple examples, but yeah, hopes this makes it easier to play this matchup. Like, this matchup in Overwatch 2 is actually fairly easy. Like, you don't have Diva to worry about anymore. You don't have, like, stuns to worry about anymore. Like, you just need to use your two advantages, which are your explosive engages and your mobility, really important, and you'll consistently be able to beat this like a brawl comp. Anyways, peace out.